Okay, let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to your favorite podcast. You know the name. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Riffin with Griffin. The solo train just keeps rolling. I got a lot to talk about this week. I want to myth bust Bidets. Of course, LeBron James winning the championship. Fuck boys. And some other stuff like that. And some more real world advice from a grown-ass man. So I'm glad you guys are back here again. Every week we're going strong. And I really appreciate the support. I really appreciate the love. And, just once again, thank y'all for listening to Yeah, just right off the bat, right off the rip. Yesterday, LeBron James wins his 4th title, 10 trips to the championship. Dope, right? I'm a Clippers fan. Y'all know I'm a Clippers fan. I would love to have seen the Clippers versus the Lakers. Even if the Lakers would have went on to the championship, I would have liked to have seen, the Lakers play the Clippers to go to the championship. So kind of anticlimactic that way. We didn't get the series that we wanted, maybe that we deserved in the pandemic. We didn't get that, so is what it is. But I just want to take a little time to talk about LeBron James, talk about the NBA. I love the NBA. Like I said, I'm a Clippers fan, but I've always been a LeBron James fan, and I like that anybody that can be as great as what I saw in my childhood, which was Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was one of the greatest players. He is the greatest player ever to play. I got to see that. I got to live through that. I got to see him defeat the Pistons and beat Magic in the finals. And we dealt with all those things, Magic getting HIV and that changing the course of maybe that would have been a great rivalry. And we never got to see that. So there's a lot of disappointments along the way, but just watching Jordan through his whole career was great. And then you're trying to see who can replace that. Then we saw some great Laker teams, like when Shaq and Kobe, and then that Pistons team, and then Houston. And, we saw a lot of great teams go through this, but just the players, when you think about great players, you think about the standard of excellence. Michael Jordan is just at the top, But, you can make a case for LeBron James. If somebody wants to make a case that they think LeBron James is the greatest player ever, I'll listen. And you're going to have a great argument. At the end of it, you might be like, okay, you know what? We agree to disagree. There's only a few players in history that can even be in a conversation like that where two sides can be like, all right, you know what? You made a good point, or hey, I'm not going to agree with you. But just as a consensus, there's no other players to come in there. There's players that get close, like Kareem. Even Kobe Bryant is somebody might say that, but when you look at the stats, you look at the numbers, you look at the longevity of the career, the standard of how great people were at a certain time, then you start to go, well, maybe that person's not in there, So it's tough. So we got LeBron having 3 championships with 3 different teams, multiple times to the championship with, with 2 of the teams, and we'll see what happens. So, the real question is, if LeBron James, first of all, let's just talk about this dude. He's a physical specimen like nothing we've ever seen like that in the NBA ever. To be like 6'9", to be that built, to take care of himself the way he has, to be that fast, that strong, to be able to jump that high, just there's so many things about the dude makes him just like probably the most physically gifted athlete, basketball player for sure. Because even you look at Michael Jordan was a great frame. He had a great frame. He was 6'6", and he was fast, and he could jump out the gym, right? Dude, LeBron probably can jump higher, is stronger, taller, as fast, if not faster, bigger. You know what I mean? Max Kellerman on First Take always says that if Magic and Jordan had a baby, it would be LeBron James. And I totally with that. Now, when you think about Jordan, he had this kind of killer mentality from the beginning of his career. So we never got to see like the growth we saw in Michael Jordan was the growth of somebody understanding how to be a team player. But that killer instinct, that will to want to win and be the reason why you win, it was always there for the majority of his career, 90% of his career, maybe even 95% of his career. So that's been the knock on LeBron James. Even though when you look at the numbers, you go to one of these stat sites and you look at like last second shots, you look at game winning shots, you look at most points in the last minutes of the game. LeBron's right there with anybody in history. So this is just kind of like a perceived knock on him, but we've seen some things in him. And so the first part of his career, even though when he went to the championship against San Antonio, he like miraculously got that team to the championship. He was overmatched. He didn't have the team to go with his talent, but he still didn't have that thing. How can I take over? How can I be the man? That killer instinct. It didn't seem that he had that. And then so that was the knock. Then he goes to Miami. They lose to Dallas, where he really wasn't the player that he is today, even though he was in his physical prime. And then the next year, they figured it out. They won 2 championships. The moment for me that LeBron James changed from just a dude where you were questioning if he had that killer instinct was, I think it was game 5 or game 6 against it was game 6 against Boston. They were down 3-2, and he was in the layup lines before the game, and he had this look on his face like something's up with this dude. It was the kind of look where he was like, "Oh, we not losing this game. We shouldn't even be in this situation." And he had like 45 points that night, couldn't miss, was all over the place. I think he almost had a triple double. I don't remember the stat line of that game, but it was incredible. And that changed him. They won the championship. They won back-to-back. And then I felt like the front office failed LeBron James in Miami for that 4th year. They didn't sign the pieces they needed. They didn't spend the money, and they suffered. They went up against a team with, and they should have lost the year before that second championship. Kawhi Leonard's at the free throw line. They're up 3. He misses one. Yeah, they're up 3. They're up 2. What was it? Yeah, they were up 2. He misses a free throw. Then he makes a second, which puts him up 3. He makes both those free throws. They go up 4. They win the championship. Okay? So, people like to forget that. And then Ray Allen comes down. He hits the 3. Then they win that game, and then they go win game 7. But, like, Kawhi Leonard had a chance to take him out, and he didn't. Anyways, so that was the moment I thought that LeBron James worked up to be the player that he is now. And then all through the Cleveland years, just unfortunate that he had to go up against a 73-win team that added a generational talent. Just weak. That was just weak, So, but even we still thought can Cleveland beat Golden State Warriors? And the only reason we thought that is because of how great LeBron James is. And then now throughout his time where his physical prime is gone, I feel like the mental and Eye of the Tiger and killer instinct, it's all there. It's just we just wanted to see it maybe 10 years earlier, but we got it now and we should enjoy it. So I feel like they won this championship. Does it have an asterisk is the question people are going to ask. And, I don't know. I didn't play NBA basketball, so I don't know like what the differences are. But like with our eye test, it looked the same to me, But is that traveling and having home court and all the things that go into making the NBA great? That stuff was missing. But it compensated by, okay, now they're away from their families, they're in quarantine, they have to, there's nobody in the gym to cheer them on except for themselves. So I mean, is it equivalent? So I don't know. This might have an asterisk by it, but it's still a championship when it's all said and done. We're gonna look back and be like, oh, remember that pandemic championship? But it's still on like if it was his only championship, then you'd be like, oh man, that sucks. But the dude already got 3, so this is 4. Now if the world starts to get back to normal and they're talking about having fans in the stands. And let's say the Lakers go back and get another championship, or at least go to it, and then maybe they get another one. But I feel like if he gets back-to-back or even gets a three-peat, man, you're talking about 6 titles in 12 years. That's 50% in the finals, but 12 finals appearances. If he gets something there, if he gets 5, 6 championships, and he has to get them now because of his age, and then you got Anthony Davis ascending into this really fantastic defensive, offensive, all-around basketball player, you're talking about really a serious, it's even more serious because to me, I feel like LeBron always got it. He already has a case. He already got a case to be like, I'm the greatest player of all time. He got a case for it already. All right. So you add 2 more championships with this is his 3rd franchise. I don't know. I think you're right there with it. So it's a shame, how the pandemic affects how the pandemic has affected our world and every single day. I mean, it's so bizarre. We keep saying the new normal. I guess eventually we got to just start saying it's the normal. It's craziness, right? So I wanted my Clippers to get there. The Clippers, they fired Doc Rivers, so I knew they cared about it, because if they didn't care about it, they wouldn't have fired Doc Rivers. But maybe next year, I don't know what it's going to look like. But it's crazy that the season started in October of last year, and we're now in October. So the NBA season has gone a full year. Like, it's already supposed to have been started already. So, like, this is going to change the schedule. Like, how long is this going to affect the schedule? Like, when will it get back to normal? Are they going to take time off? Like, what are they going to do? Like, it's so bizarre, man. So, but again, we're going to say new normal, or is just going to be normal? So probably just, it's going to be, this is our normal. And so hopefully we can figure it out, and then we got this election coming up, and I don't know what's going to happen, but I hope people vote. Let me just put that message out there right now through the podcast. Please vote. I don't care who you want to vote for. I get a lot of people, they think they're trolling by, I'm voting for Trump. If you want to vote for Trump, vote for Trump. Go out there and vote, man. That's all you got to do. Whoever you are, I'm not going to talk about who I'm going to vote for or why I'm going to vote for a person, but I'm registered to vote. I'm going to vote. I haven't always done that in the past, but I feel like we're so divided in this. We need to galvanize somehow. So whoever it is, let's get a great voter turnout. So then we can look at this and be like, all right, this is great results. We have enough sample size of people voting to be like, all right, this has affected the Electoral College in a certain way. So now we feel solid about this. But the voter turnout was so low in 2016, way lower than it was in the Obama's first election, that it's hard to go, where is everybody? Why aren't you voting now? Why don't you care? It could have been different. Like the people that are anti-Trump, you got to understand that it could have been different if you would have went out and voted, but you didn't. So we just kind of like sitting around because we think, what it is? We have too much faith in the system. We're sitting here like, oh, well, a real politician will get in there. Well, even if we don't like that person, at least the government's going to run us smoothly a certain way. Well, I guess you were wrong. I guess no. You really need to pay attention and make sure that you do your part to know that you tried to put the candidate that you wanted in there. Notice I didn't say the right candidate. Just let's go through the system properly. So, but anyways, I got on a tangent with that. So, NBA. Congratulations to LeBron James and the Lakers. I'm LA born and raised, so I'm an LA fan. So I like to see when the championships here in LA. Just a shame there won't be a parade. Maybe there'll be some kind of virtual parade. Maybe just the Lakers just have their iPhones and they just drive around the streets, being like, "Oh, we on parade." So we'll see what happens with that. All right, that's all my Lakers talk I want to talk about. Some people always say I should do an NBA podcast, but there's so many like YouTube channels that do NBA stuff. I don't know. I love the NBA. I think it's one of the best sports to watch on TV and live. It's hard to say that about some of the other sports. Hockey's great live, not good on TV. Football's great on TV, but it's different. It's not the same experience live, like completely different live. I don't know if you've ever been to an NFL football game, but that shit is not the same. It all depends on where you're seating. I remember one year I was in Washington and I went to go see the Washington team. And I got these tickets. It was only $100. I just got one ticket because I was by myself. So I got this one ticket and I was sitting I saw the ticket. I was like, $100 sitting at the 50-yard line. It was Washington versus Detroit. So anyway, I'm sitting at the 50-yard line, like sort of ground level, right? And I was like, oh my God. But then when I got to the seat, I was like, wait a minute. You can't really see anything. And then like you have to look at the game where you're moving your head side to side. The players are in the way. You don't get that experience of like seeing the field and seeing plays happen like you do on TV. And then football's about fantasy sports and stuff too. So you're checking your stats, and it's a kind of like at home experience. It just works better at home when you got you're crunching your numbers with you. But I don't know. just basketball is one of those sports that when you're in the gym, you still get that feel of like, whoo, this is dope, depending on where you're sitting. Even when because if you're sitting up top, it just looks like, oh, you get to see the whole court. You see everything. If you're sitting down lower, then you're really getting that experience of seeing the players. So the NBA is just really a fantastic sport, and I love it. And so I'll always ride or die for the NBA. All right, I had a few things I wanted to talk about on this episode. One of them is I want a myth. So I got a bidet. I don't know. I have a tushy. It's called a tushy. I got this thing, you attach it to the toilet, and then, it sprays water, to like flush your booty, your butthole or whatever. I don't know what's the proper term. All right, so you get this bidet. So I attach it. It's dope. Okay. I'm like, oh, this is exciting. I always hear about this because you always think like a bidet is for rich people or you at a fancy hotel. But this ain't like the ones at the hotel because those are weird to me. There's almost like a separate toilet, which I don't understand why. You're already sitting down, you dirty. Now you got to get up from this spot and move over to another spot to like clean yourself off. It's that I never like that. Just weird to me. It's just weird. That 2-foot trip to the other area, you just feel like you spilling stuff. It just feels dirty. Okay. So these things they have now. You attach it to your toilet. You have a little knob. All right. So the knob. I don't even know if I've talked about this already, but I don't care. I'm doing it again. So you have this knob, you know what I mean? And then like if you turn it, so like this way the water flushes into the toilet so you can clean it and flush it out. The other way is the one that sprays up and it attacks your butthole. All right. So they got the knob has like cut it in half and they have different slots, okay, of pressure level. So let's say it goes to 10. All right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You have like 10 sort of like dials they have. It does. It's like it feels like it has 10 dials, right? At 2, you could take paint off a battleship. Okay? I don't understand who needs the dial to be turned. I almost cut a hole through my body because I thought, oh, this feels I need to turn this on. And the thing sprayed up, almost killed me. It's just so, I don't understand who is using that pressure. Like literally like click, you're like, woo. And then one more click and you're like, ow. So I got this bidet. I got it into a groove. I got it figured out. But anyway, you see the commercials about bidets and they always talk about you don't need to use toilet paper. This is the myth I want to bust. Like, or you just use it to just, because it's going to be wet. So you're using it to dry off. Nah, man. Let me let you know right now. It don't clean you the way they claim, okay? If you just using a bidet and you just air drying, you dirty, all right? That bidet is just, okay, maybe it, just think of like a car covered in dirt and you got a water hose and you're going to spray. It takes a lot of water to get that dirt off your car. And you still got to get in there and buff. So make sure you don't think that if you get a bidet that, oh man, I'm going to be saving so much money on toilet paper. Nah, you still going to be using toilet paper almost the same way. Yeah, so that's my myth busting on that. Because it for sure needs to be myth busted. But they don't clean you the way they claim. Maybe I got the cheap one. I don't know. But I don't think so. Because I've been to other places and I've seen the same thing with the dials. So make sure I still have like little booty wipes. I'll make sure I'm lemony fresh when I'm done. Let's move on from this because this is it's too much. But anyways, I wanted to talk about that. Okay, so I had this one. Well, first of all, before I even go into that, I want to talk about like critics. I saw Chappelle give his acceptance speech for his, I think it was an Emmy he won for his Sticks and Stones. Great special. But, when it first came out, he got a lot of flack. There was like all these critics were panting. It was like, this is terrible. Even though like I thought it was like Rotten Tomatoes or something. It was like over 90% users loved it. And then the critics were like some low number. But I started to think to myself, what do we need critics for in this day and age? What is a critic? Like, who are they? What do they do? If I had to look up, let's just look up right now. If I looked up in Google, what is a critic? Okay. Like, what would it say? A person who expresses an unfavorable opinion of something. A person who judges the merits of a literary, artistic, or musical works, especially one who does so professionally. So they're just a professional shit talker, you know? You see that? A person who expresses an unfavorable opinion. So you got critics that do, so that's it. There's nothing more than that. So who are critics? Why do we need them? Now, when I was a kid, I used to watch Siskel and Ebert. That was the thumbs up, thumbs down guys. And the thing about it, though, is, there wasn't internet, okay? So maybe you had the newspapers. So there wasn't really this mass way to find out about things. So you trusted the critics. You go, why is this guy a critic? Oh, he's been writing for 25 years at this particular paper in the entertainment section. He went to film school, or he did that. So you kind of got, this person has a resume, a history of things about them that you go, oh, okay, this is why I trust this person's opinion. Then they had this, thumbs up, this Siskel, the movie review show with Siskel and Ebert, and then they would, you kind of started to get to know them. You kind of got to know their sensibility, and you would go, all right, when they say to watch a movie, maybe I'll watch a movie. Or if one of them would be like, they didn't like the movie, I kind of knew, I was like, I don't always agree with him, so I'm going to go see this movie because I don't think he's right. But either way, you got a sense of who they are and what they were about. So that made it like, that's why you trusted them. You trusted them. Or you didn't trust them because you got a sense of who they are by the things they wrote and the things they said on television. All right, so now cut to, we're in the age of the internet. So I don't need to rely on 2 guys or 7 or 8 critics around the country to know if I like something or not, because I can get a sense from the people. Something like Rotten Tomatoes, you want to say, hey, what movies came out last week? Let me see if people liked it or not. Why are you looking at critics? Why are you looking at these 7 artsy, pretentious people when you can look and see 100,000 people saw this movie and they rated it on this website? So 100,000 people were like, they thought it was pretty good. To me, that's a better indication of if I'm going to be entertained at this movie than these critics. And then you start to look at some of the critics and you go, who are they? Who are these people? AV Club is like that. Just a couple of nerds sometimes just trashing stuff. And then you go to that person's Instagram and you go, oh, they got like 100 followers. So like, what credibility does this person or some of these people at somebody, and not just them, I'm just saying it anywhere, what is the credibility that they have? We don't even know who they are. You go to when you go on a website, it might be whatever, and it goes, here's the author and here's their Twitter. Start going to these people's Twitters and you'll start seeing like, well, damn, who's following you? And like, what are some of the things you're saying regularly on your Twitter? I don't even know who you are. Who are you to be the authority on things that are good or bad? I just think it's a profession that we don't really need anymore because, like I said, we have enough people on the internet to get a sense by what's going on. I don't know. People that are actually in the business, it's hard. They don't want to be critiquing each other, but that to me would be a better indication of if something's good or not. And you talk to actors are some actors are really serious, they're really pretentious, and they're so they want like the Oscars and those type of award shows. They want to feel like there is some sort of artistic criterion for why. Criteria, am I saying the word right? Whatever, you guys get it. They want to know that there's a particular thing that these people are following. You know what I mean? To make sure that it's they go, okay, well, this person is it's like the foreign press. They're like, oh, who are those people, right? But who are they? Are they following a certain? Are they following a certain thing to make sure that the people that they got for this, are they? Can we trust them? Can we trust these people's opinions? Can we trust when they say something's good and they go, well, I think this person says it's good because of the integrity of this person's background. And how do we know? How do we know? There's so many sites and so many people just talking, Vulture and all these places. We go, who are these people writing these things? I don't know them. I wish that they would, you need to go to their Twitter and find out, oh, well, this, they're actually not that interesting. So why are we, because a website or a place has said, okay, you're going to be in charge of bashing television shows, Why are we listening to that one person when we have the ability to listen to countless people to test things out? You know, if like a show comes out and we go, all right, 100,000 people or 15 million people like this show. Let's have some random surveys go out. Tell me why you like this show. I think that would be a better indication of like if it's good or not. But I guess some artsy people feel like, well, it won't, that people are dumb. And, then it would be like Fast and the Furious would win every year. Well, maybe it should. I don't know. I get it though. As an actor myself, I understand that you want things that have put the craft together in the right way. So that's why I like the Oscars, because the Oscars is voted on by the people that are in the industry. Because, it's like I like to know that lighting people are being involved in why the best award went to this particular thing for lighting, because all the lighting people are like, ooh, they recognize what it is. Same thing with acting. Same thing with any of the things that go on in those award shows. But for just random critics and newspapers and websites, who are they to have such a powerful voice? Not to say that it's even powerful, but sometimes it is. You got I didn't understand from my show, I'm Dying Up Here, that I was on, and we got canceled for many reasons. But part of the reason was it just didn't get a critical acclaim. Even though to this day, we've been off the air 3 years, literally every single day somebody is sending me a message like, oh, I just saw this. Now it's on Prime. You can watch I'm Dying Up Here on Prime. And they're like, this is such a good show. I can't believe they canceled it. And I go, well, where were these people when it was time to make an assessment of the show? So I don't know. I feel like Chappelle, he was bitter. I could tell he was like, that was really like a fuck you. It was great. Hey, this was a teachable moment for you critics. You were wrong. It was like that energy was like, and I saw an article kind of like bashing him now. There's some article saying like, oh, this is because he's old. This is how a guy in the 40s doesn't know how to take criticism. So they just keep this just going back and forth. But you just go, I just really want to know, what is the point of critics? I'd love to see that discussion in the notes there in the comments. Even if you want to send me messages on Instagram, what is the purpose of critics? Why do we still have them in a day and age where there's so much internet, so much accessibility to do so many other things? So you guys tell me, let me know what you guys think. All right, where are we at now? All right, did that. Okay, so I got this message from someone for my real grown ass man advice section, and this is not necessarily because I already sort of answered it, so I didn't want to use this one, but I did want to talk about it. Like this guy says, I'm in love with two different girls and I don't know how to choose. This love triangle sucks. So I wrote him back and I was like, does it suck, bro? Does it? No, man, you suck. You're being a selfish mofo. I think you love the thrill of having two girls more than you love either of them. You're having fun now, but it's not going to end well. I mean, that will blow up in his face, And it was great. I got this message from, I've gotten some messages from girls who are this one girl said, let me find it. Oh, she says, in the name of females around the globe, thanks for telling fuckboys that they suck. Someone made me think though. I was like, hey, let's talk about this. Let's talk about the F boys. You get dinged for saying the F word too much. So we'll call them the F boys now. You know what the problem is? People don't take responsibility for the creation of this, for the creation of I love listening to girls. I love because Rachel listens to these girl podcasts where all the girls talk like this. Hey guys, what's up? I don't know what's going on today. My hair and I don't know. They all talk like that. It's so annoying. Anyway, but they all talk about F boys all the time. Oh, they're so. Here's the problem. You support them. The problem y'all have with fuck boys is that's the ones you want. You want to be with them. And you're mad they're not conforming to what you think they should be doing. There's plenty of guys out there. There's plenty of good guys out there. But nah, they're not those guys. They're not those guys. They're attractive. They're ladies' men. They're macho, chauvinistic. They're they got a lot of women in the stall, and y'all are one of them. And you're mad, but are you surprised? Like, are you really shocked that a dude that has like so many options is taking advantage of them? And like you feel like you got. The problem is the level that the minimal level of you feeling special, you need to raise that. That to me is the problem. Whatever basic level you go, well, let me give you an example. Real world example. So my buddy, my friend Chris D'Elia, he's gone through all this stuff. He's had all these allegations against him. And then there's just people that are coming out with stories about him. I don't condone bad behavior. I think Chris, he's a chauvinist, okay? He was a ladies' man. He loved being with ladies, and he let it get out of hand, all right? But that being said, some of these girls, like, they wanted to be with him, okay? They wanted him, so they pursued him. So anyways, my point is, I saw this one story on one of these things where the girl's talking about him and she says, he made me feel special. And I drove from Texas to California to see him. What? Hold on. At what point did you feel special on the 10-hour drive from Texas to California? So whatever attention he was giving, that made you feel special enough to get in the car and drive? Let me tell you, the special one, she getting flown out, okay? And check this out. Even that one ain't special because he gonna use miles because he travels a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like, what does it take for you to be like, oh, I feel special because this person I'm enamored with is giving me attention? And so that attention is enough to make you feel like, well, now I'm the one, or now, well, he's going to treat me better. No, I just feel like, that's not enough. And us regular guys are over here watching the alpha male, attractive, ruggedly handsome guy get all the women. And we're like, yeah, we're over here too, but you ain't looking at us. You too busy trying to chase after Ryan Gosling and those type guys. That's the guy you want, okay? But you don't think he look? It's like a deli. He looking around number 78, and you're shocked. So raise the level of what you want to feel. Have a better standard of, these are the things that make me feel special, that I know this person is there for me, before you go out of your way to just jump into bed with the guy, or know what it is. Know what it is. Just own that you're attracted to fuck boys. It's own that. It ain't his fault. Okay? He doing him. You attracted to that. It's just weird, And that's just, like, by the way, too, I'm getting tired of this attack on male comedians, as if we're all the same. I've heard this statement so many times from some females who are saying, like, you male comedians are using you used your fame, you used your, whatever that is, you used your fame to, they want to use the words prey, but I'm going to say, we used the fame to get with women. And my question to them is, where is the fat, bald dude with no options that you're having sex with? Where's he? Is he living in your guest room? Because, you're going for all types of men? Yeah, where's that guy? Where's the dude living with his mom and no job? Is he with you? Are you having sex with him? Are you going out on dates with him? Are you attracted to that guy? Nah, bitch, you not. You attracted to the same guy that you're trashing. You're attracted to that type of guy because that's the guy you're always with. Now, here's my problem with it. It implies that only dudes who are born pretty and handsome and attractive, they're the only ones allowed to get with beautiful women. They're the only ones allowed. The rest of us just have to be like, well, we weren't born with anything, so now we have to just sit back and watch the pretty people do their thing. Nah. Me becoming who I am, getting my career in gear, having confidence in myself, that should not be looked at as a negative. That's part of the arsenal. That's part of positive. Those are the positive things about me. I've used my talent and made that attractive. There ain't nothing wrong with that. That's part of it. Now, yes, being inappropriate or being, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's different. How you take these tools that you have and how you apply them, you can judge that. You could be like, hey, you're talking to 10 people and you're saying all the same things, or you're sleeping with 5 different people at the same time and you're claiming things that they're your girlfriend and you're not. I mean, you understand what I'm saying? But the actual tools that I've put into play, there ain't nothing wrong with that. That's part of who I am. That's my equivalent to my being born pretty. Hey, I was born funny. There's a reason why people come watch me perform. There's a reason why I got acting jobs. Those talents and all that stuff, that goes into why people find me attractive. And I'm tired of people making it out like that's a bad thing. It's especially when they turning around and they trying to sleep with athletes and UFC fighters. Those people who are trying to, when you're doing that kind of stuff, when you're out there doing that, don't come at me talking about you male comics. Yeah, that was part of it. Should some of us have been more respectful and all that stuff? If you want to talk about that, you can. But you ain't gonna make me feel like I'm supposed to just sit by and do nothing because I'm not, aesthetically as pleasing as some hot guy. The guy that he's just hot. So that means, he's the only one allowed to be with hot people. Nah, shut up. That's what I say to you. Shut up. Zero fucks. I care about that right now. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. Let's talk about what we actually need to talk about. Stop putting male comics all in the same boat, especially the ones of color. Okay? Hey, I had to bust my ass to get where I'm at. They didn't just go, he's a male, boom. Nah, man. It didn't work like that. I had to fight through a lot of stuff. And you need to take a look at these lineups. These lineups for the past 5-6 years, when all this stuff was going on, they still mostly white. Okay? It's still mostly white. So when the white female comics are trying to act like all male comedians, when they say that, nah, you ain't putting me in with your nonsense. Okay? Because where were you? Where were you when people of color needed you? Where were you? Where were you? You weren't trying to help me. No, you were helping the white male comic. That's who you were helping. That's who you were standing behind. That's who you were trying to get with. That's who you were trying to support and prop up. You weren't there for me. So I'm tired of you lumping me all in with everyone now. Tired of that. All right. That's my rant on that. That made me feel better. All right, so now we're back to real world advice from a grown ass man. Let's go to it. All right, so I got quite a few of them this week. No videos because nobody wanted to send a video. But first one up. What do you think the value of college is today? What do I think the value of college is today? Well, I see that in question implies that, like, are you saying that, like, people with a college degree aren't getting great jobs, or like what do you value the college? See, I think the value of learning is like we've gotten away from that. We've gotten away from just like, hey, go out and get as many degrees as you can, if it's affordable, or go out for learning for the sake of learning. Go out for the learning to enhance who you are as a person, physically, spiritually, emotionally, educationally, if that's a word. Getting a great education, there's nothing wrong with that. And having that degree it already statistically proves that, you're still in a better position. So I think a college degree is still very valuable. If you have the ability to go out and go to college, if it doesn't hinder your lifestyle, per se, if you can swing, if you have parents that are supportive, or if you can like work through college, if you can I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's still very valuable. Even if at the end of that, you don't necessarily get the job that you want or you're not in the field that you want, that experience of having all that, you're a more well-rounded individual. There's nothing wrong with education. There's nothing wrong with being a sponge and learning and getting, there's nothing wrong with that. It's great. I mean, we all should find a way to read more and research more and study more. But, we're in this Google it world, so sometimes it feels like, what's the point of going to get, memorizing knowledge and getting all this when you could just you could just get all this information on your own on the internet, even with online colleges and stuff like that. So maybe it's just we need to change the focus of what the educational system is, more practical stuff, the practical use of this information that we're learning. That's probably the part that needs to change. That's the part that needs to it's probably been altering now for the past 20 years with the influx of just the ability to grab as much information that we can right at our fingertips, right in our screens. So I think there is still a great value in the college education today. So yeah. No one likes my mate's girlfriend except him. Do we tell him she's terrible or leave it? Man, I've been here. One of my buddies, he married this one. Everybody hated her. She just was mean. She was a mean person for whatever reason. She was mean to everybody. We never got along, and so it's just one of those things. What do you do? I mean, it's just a tough spot because on one hand, how long have they been together? If they just got together, you go to your dude yo, man, she's kind of rotten or something's up with her. She doesn't seem to be. And then you guys, if maybe you can work it out with him. Maybe if you're the kind of group that you all hang out all the time, then it's a moment to be like, hey, what's up with your girl? She don't seem to like me. Can we figure this out? But if they've been together years and then you're coming up with, you haven't liked her this whole time, it's well, hey, man, what are you supposed to do at that point? At that point, your friend's in. He's in deep. He loves her. There's nothing you can do. My buddy, I remember, he was breaking up off and on with this woman. And then every time they break up, you go, man, I don't know why you with her. What'd you, man, and you guys are commiserating with him. He's feeling yeah, I know, man, I'm sorry, all this stuff. And then 2 weeks later, you're where you at? Oh, I'm out with so-and-so. And you're what? After that happens 2 or 3 times, you got to just be hey, this ain't on me anymore. This is what he wants. That's his life. Go do it. Go do your thing. And then you just have to be deal with it. Your friend has to just make time for you and you just have to tolerate whatever that is. But if it's early on, then I do say that try to work it out, respectfully, lovingly, compassionately. Be because if you like him and you want to hang out with him and she's always there, then you need to find a way to work that out. If not, then, you're just going to be miserable. And then what's going to happen is you're going to end up distancing yourself from your friend. So you have to ask what you really want in that situation. That's what I think about it. All right, this one. I'm second guessing my major and feel lost. I thought I would have this figured out. The guy said another question. So he's older, actually, older meaning for college. I think he's in his 30s. But, people always second guess their major. I mean, this is what I think is what the system is missing is for people when they're younger, high school, grammar school, those ages, they need to have more career days again. There need to be an influx of information into the high school for these high school kids to, be able to experience or at least be able to be touched by so many different professions, and so they can in their mind start to be ooh, I think I want to be that from that point. So I think that we need to hope that younger people start to be hey, I'm interested in this at a young age or in a high school age. What are you starting to be interested in? And hopefully then you go, oh, I think I want to pursue that. And then they go out and then they go to college. And then maybe they find out while they're there that, ooh, this isn't really for me. And that's the time where you go, oh, you know what? I don't like this. I actually like this. So it's really just like I say, we got to just experience more things so we can actually, the more options you have, the better it is for you to be oh, okay, I really like this, but this one has these benefits. This one has these benefits, and then you can like actually make a choice that makes you feel inspired. It's hard to be inspired. So like if you pick a major and you think, oh, you put all your eggs in that basket, like this is it, and then you get there and you start to go, oh man, I don't really like this. Just listen, there ain't nothing wrong with that. Okay, you don't like it, so get out while you can. Shift, pivot, try to pivot. Or if it's something that you go, or if it's something like, oh, you know what, I should finish this because this is going to lead to a steady career. Then if you're making a practical choice like that, then think about that too. But look, if you're at a point now where you're like, oh man, I mean, like he says, I'm second guessing. If you're second, I talked about this last episode. Life is a lot of times about making a choice and living with it, and the biggest part about it is the living with it part. That's the part right there. So, what are you second guessing? Because if you're are you thinking about other things? Are you thinking about like, well, I really am thinking about this major, so I don't know if that's the case, or are you saying, I don't know if this one's good enough? No, you made the choice. Make that good enough. Make it the path, give that path your all. That's the hard part about it, is like accepting that. So listen, I hope you find your way. I hope you figure that out, and good luck. All right, next one. Help me, he says. I quit my job. I don't know why I can't when I no longer want to be there. What is it? I mean, that's called fear to me. He didn't word that. The wording is terrible, but I'm still using it because it made me start to think about, I always get this question when I'm, on the road or radio stations. Hey, when you start doing comedy, why? And why did you wait or whatever? And I always say, like, it's like, we're controlled by fear, that's the oftentimes why we don't make a big choice, or we don't bet on ourselves, or we don't, because we're being, we're a slave to like a too expensive apartment, or we're a slave to a job that we don't really like, but we need that income. We're in relationships that we don't really want to be in, but you're afraid to be alone. There's so many, you're worried about money. You're fear that you're not good enough. And that's why you don't go out and change professions, or that's why you don't go out and, hey, let me go take that class that's going to get me that certification for me to do this, or that's why you don't start doing stand-up comedy, or chasing after being an actor, or trying to do anything that you're dreaming about. It's fear. So, it's like we just forget to set up a plan. Look, if you're at a job that you hate your job, and you just keep complaining about it. Why? Why don't you just leave? Why there are reasons why you don't just leave, because you're like, well, I need to pay my rent. So then, therefore, before you can leave your job, you need to make sure you have money saved. Before you leave your job, you need to make sure you have another job set up. If you don't think you're qualified for another job, then now you know what you have to do now. So now I got to work backwards. I still have to be able to pay my rent. I need a job that I'm qualified for. Let me go get those qualifications. I mean, it's just about planning. It's about planning. It's about setting yourself up for success. Then you can leave your job. You all can. Everybody can leave their job and find something new. You just have to believe. It's not even just about believing that you can. It's about setting yourself up, making sure that you have all the steps in place. And once you start to do that, you start to realize, oh, it's not as hard as I thought it was. Actually, I can do this. So first step you should do is look into it. Whatever job you have, look into moving to a different job that's a similar place, or a different profession, but it has some of the same skills that you have that they need. Start looking into that, and you'll be surprised how you're like, oh man, I can do this. And then you're going to start to understand that it really isn't just about being scared. It's just about being like, oh man, I don't have it within me to, am I going to fail? Or, oh man, maybe I won't make enough money, or, oh, this is going to be too hard. Like, all that stuff is fear, and when you let fear control you, when you let fear dictate your actions, you're going to be stuck at a job that you hate. So work on that. Good luck. How do I deal with the 7-year itch going into my 14th year of marriage? Well, I mean, I think this is like, listen, I've never been married, so I don't know if I'm the person qualified enough for this, but still, these are the kind of things where it sounds like, I already know relationships are hard. People say, "Oh, my relationship's easy." Or no, relationships are challenging. When I say hard, I mean like it's challenging, and it should be. You're two different human beings, and you're living together, and you have kids, and there's a lot of factors that are going on. You have your own emotions and feelings, and the things that make the job makes you feel, the things that this other person makes you feel. And so that stuff becomes hard. If you're starting to wander, it's like maybe it's time to like rekindle the fire within your own relationship. Maybe it's time to have date nights. Maybe it's time to like, hey, let's go on a romantic vacation. Let's go on. You know what I mean? Let's start doing some hobbies together. Let's start getting with other couples and like, doing game nights and like, you have to make it fun again. You have to find that thing that evolve into whatever it is going to be now. But to be out there being like, I need to, be with someone else. I mean, that's a selfish choice. And it's neither here nor there in terms of like whatever you decide, but just own that. Just own that. Oh, because when you start to feel that, hey, we all feel it. It's okay to feel something. It's just acting on it that puts you in a bad place, puts you down a dark path. So I just think that instead of like, scratch it with the person that you're with in different ways, just continue to talk and be open. And, we just get so stale and stagnant in a relationship that we just kind of go, oh, well, this is my partner. And you take it for granted. Don't take it for granted. Reinfuse some romance back into that marriage. You owe it to both of yourselves. Good luck. All right, this is the last one, and this one got to me a little bit too, because it said, how do you support a rape victim who's also your girlfriend that's not your girlfriend? It's complicated, but mutual. Like, listen, I totally get what this is about. Something that's staggering to me, and even though, and like what I talked about earlier on my rant, again, I want to say I don't condone bad behavior at all. All right. And what I was talking about earlier is basically saying the tools that a person has, don't put those on trial. All right. But how someone uses those tools, that can be put on trial. But don't put the tools on trial. So I don't condone bad behavior. So, and, it really is shocking to me. I don't know how many people have like female friends, or if you have sisters, even like I know some guys out there with your wives and girlfriends, when you start to talk, you have these vulnerable talks, and then you start to hear from your girl some experience that she had where you go, damn, that happened to you? Like, it's a staggering amount of women who have experienced some sort of sexual assault, some sort of sexual misconduct. And it's like, so what you're talking about right now is a trust issue, man. It's about trust. How do you support someone who's been a victim of that? Her trust has been broken. And in so many ways, because, if it's like some sort of stranger, if it was a stranger, that's terrible. And that's a different kind of mistrust of like just people in general and just men in general. Like, I don't want to be near any man because, but then also the even worse, or, on the same level of terrible, is somebody that she knew, like a date rape or, a family member, or, so it's all like broken trust, broken trust. And you have to try to rebuild that trust and help let her know that she's safe. And that's on her to let you know, like, it's on her timeline. So all you could do is just be there for her with no pressure. That's the thing too. And you can do certain things to help her with that. Like, for instance, if you are intimate with her and you guys have this intimate, if you're already intimate with her, then she already has some trust with you. But if you feel like there's still like some things there, you need to let her know that sometimes that there's no pressure for her to have sex with you, like zero pressure at all. Like, for something like you should be able to give her a full body massage. She could be butt ass naked and she don't have to do anything for you. All right. This is just strictly for her. Look up yoni massage, by the way. That's what that is too. Yoni massage is like totally for the female's pleasure, just her, like that you have to ask, like, you start off with a full body massage and, it's all about her pleasure. And then when you go down to like the sensitive private areas, it's all about asking like, hey, is it okay if I do this? Would you like this? Can I do this? And then it's them being in complete and utter control. That's what she has to feel. She has to feel that she has complete control over the situation, that she has complete trust in you, that when she says no, you're going to stop, that when that, you know what I mean? And that she can finally be vulnerable again and just, again, have trust and not be scared of certain situations. It's a very touchy situation. And I like the fact that it seems like you're trying to be sensitive to it and, reach out and let her know. And that's all you could do. And you can't just reassure her with words. It's with actions too. That's what I'm saying. So if you are already intimate with her, it's like, hey, rub her feet, and that's all that it is. Hey, let me rub your feet. You tend to, you've been working all day, I'm gonna give you a foot rub, and that's it. You don't do anything else. You don't not everything has to lead to sex. Let her know that's by showing her that that's the situation. That you could cuddle without it turning into something, that you could, all these kinds of things, because it's important for someone like that to rebuild that trust in herself, rebuild that trust in men, rebuild that trust in, society as a whole. It's hard, so I do wish you good luck with this. And listen, when I do this segment, Real World Advice from a Grown-Ass Man, it's just me giving my thoughts, my common sense takes on the world. If I'm not a professional and I don't claim to be, so I like to say this practically every episode. But if you are struggling out there with feelings of depression and anxiety, I do highly recommend that you seek some professional help. Professional help is not, it has a bad stigma. And by the way, they're not necessarily there to help you fix your problems, but help you understand them, help you navigate through these feelings, because this person is a professional and has seen it before and can see the signs and help you guide you through this emotional forest that you're like, why do I feel this way? How do I feel this way? Help you find the origins and help you, because when you learn those facts, like even someone who's a victim of sexual assault may not even understand that they're scared, that they don't, I mistrust. Oh, now I know I mistrust because of this. So now they can see it better. So, going to therapy is not a terrible thing. And I do highly recommend it. I know it's like sometimes for some people it's a financial issue. And so look, the Affordable Care Act is out there. Look into it in your state and you'd be surprised. And then there's a lot of now because of COVID, there's a lot of online stuff now too. And some of that stuff is actually more affordable than you think. So, and if you are having issues, there are hotlines and things to reach out to. And I do highly recommend you do that. But for the most part, a lot of this stuff is just, simple things that you just trying to get a friend. I'm being your friend right now, asking your friend for their opinion. And that's really what it is. I should call it grown man opinions. But so that's all that is right now. But anyways, guys, I really thank you for watching Riffin with Griffin. So please, and listening to, for you people that just listen, I don't know, not everybody watches YouTube, but some of you are on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and Stitcher and all the different places that you listen. Thank you for listening. I truly appreciate it. Share, subscribe, and do all that stuff that helps the podcast grow. I'm continuing. This is me now. This is how I'm doing my podcast. I do have a few guests I'm going to have sprinkled in. By the way, for the people that are regulars on the podcast, I'm going to be on Stevie Weeby show. Steve and I talked it out, and we're good again, good as we could be, right? And so look out for that. And I'm also going to bring Steve on my podcast because that's always a fun time talking to that guy. So I appreciate you guys again listening, and I'll see you next week.